January 19th, 2015. Lake Sainte Louise, Missouri, USA. A 14-year-old boy fell through the ice of a frozen lake. He was underwater for 15 minutes. His heart stopped. Doctors performed CPR for 27 minutes. Nothing. 8 doses of epinephrine, the drug used to restart a stopped heart. Nothing. The doctor called the mother into the room, not to celebrate, to record the time of death. What happened in the next 60 seconds was later described by a pediatric intensive care specialist with 30 years of experience as a bona fide miracle, and it is written in black and white in an official hospital medical chart to this day. John Smith was 14 years old. He was the captain of his school basketball team, and on this particular Monday, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a school holiday, he and 2 friends decided to head to the lake. The temperature had been rising. The ice was thinning. A man at the nearby clubhouse spotted the boys walking out onto the frozen surface and shouted at them to get off. John shouted back. He said they were practicing for the Winter Olympics. Seconds later, the ice cracked. All 3 boys fell through. John's 2 friends, both named Josh, managed to grab the ice or swim to the surface. John did not. He sank to the rocky bottom, roughly 10 feet down, in water that was 40 degrees Fahrenheit. By the time firefighters arrived from 3 separate stations, Lake Sainte Louise, St. Charles County, and Wentzville, John had been underwater for more than 15 minutes. Firefighter Tommy Shine entered the water to search for John's body. He reached down through the dark, freezing water. Nothing. He reached again. Nothing. He was about to surface. Then something, and Shine has described this himself, something told him to move 2 steps to the left. He moved, and his hand found John. Dr. Jeremy Garrett, the specialist who would later treat John, would say that that moment alone was the first of several things that should not have happened. John arrived at St. Joseph Hospital West with no pulse and no breathing. His body temperature had dropped to 88 degrees Fahrenheit. He was cold. He was blue. He was, by every clinical measurement, gone. The attending ER physician was Dr. Kent Sutterer. His own daughter was in the same class as John at school. He knew this family, which made what he had to say next almost unbearable. Dr. Sutterer and his team performed CPR for 27 minutes. They administered 8 doses of epinephrine. 8. Nothing happened. After 45 minutes without a single heartbeat, Dr. Sutterer made the call.
No spontaneous respirations, no heart tones. In essence, he was cold and he was dead. He was gone.
He asked the charge nurse to bring John's mother, Joyce, into the room. Joyce Smith walked through that hospital door, and she did not say goodbye. The doctor allowed Joyce to approach her son. She walked to the bed. She reached down and grabbed his cold, bare feet, and she began to pray, not quietly, loudly enough that the entire floor of the hospital could hear her.
Please, God, bring my son back. She was screaming. You could hear it down the hall. She was yelling at God.
Dr. Nancy Bauer, the pediatrician on duty, told NBC's Today Show exactly what she experienced.
The paramedics that brought him in said he'd been down for 15 to 20 minutes. It was very grim. No, we didn't have any hope for him. I mean, we're gonna do our best.
Now I want to stop here because I know there may be someone watching this who is skeptical, and I am not asking you to take anyone's word for what I am about to tell you, because what I am about to read to you is not from a church newsletter. It is not from a Christian blog. It is from the official medical chart of St. Joseph Hospital West, Missouri. But the miracles did not stop there. John was airlifted by helicopter to SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. There he came under the care of Dr. Jeremy Garrett, a pediatric critical care specialist with 30 years of experience treating drowning and hypothermia cases. John's lungs had taken in raw, dirty lake water. The medical expectation was severe infection. When the test results came back, his lungs were completely clear. Then Dr. Garrett revealed a detail that stopped everyone in the room. The acidosis level in John's blood, the measure of how toxic it had become, was 6.6 pH. Normal human blood sits between 7.35 and 7.45. Below 6.8, medical textbooks say you do not survive. John was at 6.6. The next day, still on a ventilator, John began responding to Dr. Garrett's questions. The doctor asked him to indicate his two favorite basketball players. John's hands moved: Michael Jordan, LeBron James. His brain, which should have been catastrophically damaged, was completely intact. On February 4th, just 16 days after falling through that ice, John Smith walked out of SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital under his own power, bouncing a basketball. John Smith's story did not end at that hospital door. He went on to study for the ministry at North Central University in Minneapolis. He got engaged to his high school sweetheart, and in 2019, 4 years after the miracle, 20th Century Fox released a major Hollywood film about his life. It was called Breakthrough. The film grossed over $50 million worldwide. But here is what matters most about this story. This was not reported by a church newsletter. This was reported by NBC News, by The Today Show, by People magazine. The doctor, a man trained in science, not theology, used the word miracle himself. The hospital published the full account on their official website. The medical records are real. John himself said it best. If this story moved you, if it gave you goosebumps or made you stop and think, that is not an accident. Stories like John's do not travel by coincidence. They find people at exactly the right moment. And if you want more stories like this, true, documented, impossible to ignore stories of God moving in the real world, subscribe to this channel.